Oh hey! Didn't see you there. Oh, what happened here, you're asking? Nothing really. To be frank, it all started when... Welcome back, ladies and gents, to War Crime Simulator. Your one-stop shop for death and bloodshed. Today, we continue our endeavors from the first episode. And since it's been quite a while, I will quickly recap what happened. In the previous episode, after healing from my burn wounds, I gathered supplies to start clearing out zombies. I found a helicopter,
What the fuck?
cleared out southern Rosewood, tackled the prison, then the rest of Rosewood, and by day 34, the first town was clear. After that, I moved south towards the countryside. And lastly, I spent an unnecessary amount of time to, I forgot. By the end of the episode, this is the approximate area I had cleared, with a total kill count of over 8,000 zombies. And now, we're here, exactly where we previously left off, in front of the Fort Redstone gate. My goal this episode is to seize control over Fort Redstone and acquire multiple weapons of mass destruction. Then I will use these weapons to permanently thin out the surrounding populace, specifically the leftover areas around Rosewood and this massive scary forest. However, before I could even go through with my plan, I instantly ran into problems.
My stuff?
The trailer had bugged out, and I couldn't access any of the stuff I needed to take on Fort Redstone. I thought the problem lied within the fact that the trailer was missing a door, which I removed to unlock it. However, I needed a higher mechanics skill to successfully put the door back on. Annoyed, I set the plan aside and headed back to Rosewood. I fueled up my Pontiac and made my way to this town in the north. I was here to check out the bookstore, the local gun store, and maybe even the police station.
Are you fucking kidding me? Yes! It was all worth it! Okay, I'm out. I'm out. Attachments! Yes! What? Why are they all moving here? Why are all of them moving? Come on, pick them back up. Ooh, okay. Holy shit.
After almost shitting my pants, I returned home. I managed to get a lot more gear out of that trip, and one of the books I was looking for. So the next day, I read the mechanics book and got to grinding. I spent so much time grinding, in fact, that my character fractured his foot.
Major fracture detected.
What?
This unfortunate event would delay my quest for another 7 days. I spent that entire time resting and trying to figure out why my character kept getting furious.
Why am I angry?
I thought it had something to do with my bloodlust, so I tested my theory.
Yeah, it's bloodlust.
After dealing with my need for blood, I moved on to mechanics to reach the skill level I needed. And finally, after multiple days of straight grinding mechanics, messing around Rosewood, and going literally insane,
It's been raining for 4 days!
I made a realization.
Am I supposed to be carrying this? No wonder all this bad shit has been happening to me. I didn't carry my lucky charm around.
And what do you know? The next morning, my foot was in a better shape.
I'm healed! Oh my god, it's a miracle, I'm healed!
Which meant I could start fighting once more. So after a 10-day delay, I could finally return and take on Fort Redstone. So I strapped the door back on the trailer, and...
It is completely broken. Wait! It fixed! Yes!
With Project Zomboid spaghetti code now dealt with, it's time to finally seize some military hardware. Ow. Hey you! Yeah, you! Have you ever wanted to give someone money and get absolutely nothing in return? Well, now you can! Introducing YouTube memberships. We've got 4 tiers. By choosing this option, you can give me money. If you choose this option instead, you can give me more money. And if you choose any of these 2 options, you can give me even more.
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out!
Someone better lock him up properly, otherwise I'll lock one of you up in there with him. Alright, there we go. Repairing that's gonna be expensive. Right, yeah, memberships. We've got those now. With enough support, I would consider opening up a PC server or 2 at some point. Oh yeah, and I've opened a Discord server as well. You should join it. I dare you. Oh yeah, one more thing. I've set up a Patreon as well with the same perks and benefits. For the people that don't want to give YouTube any money. That's about it. Enjoy the rest of the video. To get into Fort Redstone, I had to fight my way through and bust down 2 more gates.
You piss off.
Now that I was finally in, I could begin my search for the weapons.
Let me in, 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 let me in.
And almost instantly I managed to get my slimy, greasy hands on one of the first items I was here for. And then another one. And then I found the weapon created by God himself. The AA-12. Chambered in 12 gauge, the AA-12 can be fitted with multiple attachments, such as foregrips, laser designators, various scopes and optics, along with muzzle devices. Its 7-round magazine can be replaced with a massive 20-round drum mag. Combine that with its capability of fully automatic fire, it's guaranteed to shred entire hordes in seconds. These are all the reasons why I call this thing the Fuck Around and Find Out 3000. And just like that, by the end of day 72, the entire Fort Redstone hospital was nothing but an ocean of blood and dead corpses. Corpses that I would use to grind tailoring. 4 levels to go. However, my thirst for blood hadn't been quenched yet, so I went deeper into the base.
Oh, someone decided to go for a bathroom break and has been now stuck in here for a whole 2.5 months. Live on the shitter, die on the shitter.
And after clearing out the barracks,
That house just got a reality check.
I had another smooth brain moment.
Oh, it did heal. I just had to remove the splint. How did I dupe the splint?
Now healthy, I moved on and found these empty bunkers. There was some loot here and there, but nothing special really. It seemed like a pretty safe spot, so I decided to rest here for the night. It would be a real shame if there were people in the walls though. After waking up, I spent the entire day moving various items to my truck and killing the occasional group of... Alright. These next few days are pretty boring, so let's just skip until something interesting happens. With that problem now out of the way, I wanted to test out my new weapons on this massive group of zombies. So I equipped my rocket launcher and dispersed the crowd. After that absolute slaughter, I took a break and explored the rest of the military base. I found more useful items, grinded more tailoring, exercised even more, and once I was done with my 4-day long workout session, I checked out the rest of the military base. However, my truck was completely full, and I'd have to come back for the rest of this stuff another time. I devoted the next few days towards finally clearing out the rest of Fort Redstone. Clearing out the remainder of the base was a struggle, because of the constant fucking rain. In reality, I spent more time waiting out the weather than actually killing zombies. So after a constant back and forth over the next few days, I circled the area one more time, and could safely declare Fort Redstone clear. So I packed up my things, woke up the next day, cleared the road out of Fort Redstone, and headed east, back home. After 24 days, I returned on the 92nd day, with 3 of the 4 weapons found, a truckload of gear, guns and ammo, as well as an additional 5,000 kills. I would say that I deserve a small relaxing break from all the chaos. Now that I'm back, my plan is to turn the fire department into my base of operations, like I initially wanted to before getting evicted in the first episode. Before that though, I turned my focus towards my metalworking skill, or rather, the lack thereof. In case you weren't aware, metalworking is a very important skill for vehicle maintenance, which my cars were in dire need of. However, like usual, my character's knowledge was limited by the books I had available. After searching around town, I found none of the books I wanted, so I had to cut my losses and work with what I had. I wanted to continue grinding the next day, but there was a slight change of plans. Looks like the bloodlust my character developed those few months ago is slowly turning into a problem. Anyways, back to metalworking.
There we go.
Level 6. Not the desired level, but it's the furthest I can get. Now I can start renovating the fire department. I started off by clearing the backyard.
Okay, fine day's work.
In the morning of day 96, I used my newfound knowledge to repair my car.
Wow, that took all of my engine parts.
I also had to make some new sacrifices. For the voices. They are calling my name.
He did the same joke about 3 times already. I don't think it's funny anymore.
With the voices now suppressed, I had a clear head to think, and I came up with an idea.
You know what I'm gonna do? Instead of working on the fire department, I think I should test if I can even get generator knowledge from electrical skill levels, and then grind towards that if that's the case. Fuck it, I'm gonna do that right now.
In case you didn't know, this entire time since the first episode, I've been having trouble finding the generator operating magazine, and I may have finally found the solution. If this turns out to be true, then I won't have to worry about running out of fuel any longer. I remember there being a lot of computers and electronics at the military base, so I raced back towards Fort Redstone. Once there, I collected some leftover loot, and then went looking for the electronics.
Alright, here they are.
I read the required book and got to work.
Finally, after so long I can hook up generators.
After months of struggle, I could finally pick up a generator, hook it up to the gas station, and have a sustainable source of fuel.
We have gas!
With that problem now forever out of my way, I returned to the fire department. Then I went into town with the aim of stealing doors to decorate my base. But I ran into some trouble with the mod.
I guess I can't. It is required, but it doesn't fucking say that it is required. Yeah, but
Once dealt with, I continued my search. Gathering and installing all of these doors somehow took me 2 very uneventful days. Next day I gave in to the voices once again and collected metal shaving from around town for storage. And then on day 101, I took a look outside.
oh my god! The first snow!
Yup, winter. That reminds me, to keep warm I gotta connect a generator to the fire department.
Let there be lights.
With electricity now running through the building, renovating is gonna be a lot more pleasant.
It's so bright, I love it.
Moving on, I wanted to reconstruct the missing garage door. To do that I needed screws. I found them quite quickly.
Oh!
However, once I returned to put the door up, like usual, I ran into a problem.
What is obstructing it? What's obstructing it?
Something was constantly obstructing the door. Or should I say, literally fucking nothing. Things can never be this simple, can they? After an entire night of slamming my head against the wall, I went with a smaller door.
I think I just add a small garage door. What? 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 I give up.
There weren't any exciting developments for the next 10 days. Not saying the previous days were exciting, but these next few days were really boring. Just me stealing furniture, moving my stuff from point A to point B, silencing the voices, renovating the fire department, silencing the voices more, and stocking up for the winter. Just the same boring repetitive shit over and over again. One thing worth mentioning though is the armory I built between day 106 and 108, which I filled up with about 100 weapons. I would like to see the ATF try and shoot my dog now. Day 114 is where I finally did something productive. I wanted to set out and finish what I had started in the previous episode, and clear out the woods around the prison. To bait zombies out of said woods, I would utilize the helicopter's loudness to my advantage.
Take a look at this. Engine loudness. 454 tiles. And that's the radius.
So I flew over to the prison, set down the helicopter, and got ready, expecting hundreds to start pouring out. The fight lasted almost a full 24 hours, and I used the materials I got from it to finally finish grinding tailoring.
There we go.
I could finally max out my character's protection.
So, the two possible areas where I can get bit is either groin or hand.
Once tailoring was taken care of, I patrolled the immediate area to eliminate whatever groups of zombies the noise from the helicopter had scattered around. With everything cleaned up, I now had to deal with the farmlands to the east. Which of course called for more monotonous slaughter. To make matters worse, I had my friends keeping me company this time.
Bro, it's my bad. My fucking balls are inflamed.
What?
Look at myself, bro. I look amazing. I would fuck myself.
Marble,
What?
take your fucking meds already!
After a final patrol on day 119, all of those ugly red dots were eliminated. I know I've said this already, but this time I mean it. On the 119th day, the first town and the area around it were finally completely clear, with a final kill count of 16,903.
There's a zombie in here. Bro, I've been here so many times. How is there a zombie in here?
Make that 904. Now it was time to strategize my next plan of action, because I had quite possibly the most dangerous and daunting part of the map ahead of me. No, I'm not talking about Louisville. I'm talking about this ginormous piece of forest that I mentioned at the start of the video, which is absolutely infested with zombies. However, before tackling these woods, I had some more stuff to do around town, like renovating, decorating, and organizing my new base, as well as destroying private property, repairing my car, and disassembling other cars for spare parts. Yet every day, I was dreading the thought of dealing with that forest, but I devised a plan to hopefully ease my mind. The plan is split into two phases. The first and simplest phase, direct ground approach, which begins with me loading up a vehicle with weapons and ammo to clear out the narrow trails within the forest, and ends with the liberation of the not-so-secret facility. Once that's all done, I can move on to phase 2, air superiority. This is where the Black Hawk helicopter comes in. Using its mounted machine guns to my advantage, I can kill all zombies from above without ever stepping onto the ground. However, there is one slight problem. Its very rapid fuel consumption will limit the amount of time I can stay airborne.
Oh no.
Even with spare cans of fuel, I risk getting stranded with limited supplies miles away from home. Ammunition is another problem. I can only use 556 cartridges, and there's only so much I can take with me, due to the limited amount of storage capacity. Due to these two factors, I would still have to occasionally ground it, which is totally what you can do in a forest IRL. And fight the zombies on my own. Unfortunately, to effectively draw zombies towards me, I would still have to leave the engine idling and letting it burn more fuel, although at a slower rate. I already had the necessary equipment, items and supplies for the second phase, but I was missing a vehicle for the first phase. None of my current vehicles are suited for traversing difficult and muddy conditions. I needed either a Humvee with a trailer or a beefy but not too long military truck. Because navigating a semi-truck in those overgrown woods would be an almost impossible task, even with my 100 hours on Euro Truck Simulator. I remember seeing a military cargo truck in the Moja Industrial Zone on day 58, while I was searching for the sledgehammer. So on day 125, I made my way there. Oh, I guess not. So the next, no, not it either. I just kept disassembling more vehicles and organizing my base, I guess. I'll be honest, I have no fucking idea what I was thinking here.
Don't exit drive, kids.
I finally set out on my mission on day 128, and once I got there, I quickly located the truck. Well, there were actually two trucks, so I hotwired the second truck, fueled it up, and brought it to the first one to compare the condition. Generally, they were in a similar shape, but the second truck had a better looking camo, and it also had a chunkier gas tank. I disassembled the one I wasn't taking for spare parts, and before I left, I looked around for metal to bring back home. Now that I had all of the required items and vehicles, I could go on with my plan. However, there's one last thing I could do with the truck. By using the metalworking knowledge I had acquired months prior, and my abundance of recently acquired metal, I could beef up my truck with armor, and even repair some of the beaten up parts. So I got the resources together, crafted the parts, and put them into place. With the truck looking as good as new, I deposited and organized all of the stuff I brought from my trip. Once I emptied the trunk to the bare essentials, I loaded it back up with all the necessary items. Food, check. Weapons, check. Tools, check. Back to school essentials, check. Extra fuel, check. Metal for repairs, check. Sledgehammer, I forgot. Progress log, should have done this sooner. RPG warheads, check. Jeff, check. Alright, I think that's everything. I quickly double checked my trunk, and after resting at the local gas station, I set my sights on the forest. However, upon arrival, I immediately ran into a problem because of course I fucking did. The dirt road leading through the forest has been completely taken over by nature.
Right, I'll tell you what, you fat little...
And it's a lot worse than I thought it would be. I'd have to get out of my truck every 5 seconds to cut down the trees and clear the path. So not only would I have to deal with hordes of the undead, but fucking trees as well.
Don't fucking crawl in the dirty...
But there's absolutely no way some puny trees would stop the wrath of the pee-pee poo-poo man. It took me almost 9 in-game days to complete phase 1, and 5 entire days just to reach the facility. Dispersing the crowds of protesters around the facility was pretty straightforward, thanks to my recently maxed out aiming skill, along with the tools I found at the facility.
Oh shit, okay.
On day 141, seeing I still had room in my truck as well as a new trailer, I followed the dirt road to take a little detour through Fort Redstone and engage in some loot goblin activities.
Wait, there's also an M32 grenade launcher in full condition right here. How did I miss all of this?
With all the military hardware now officially in my possession, I would never have to come back here again. So I said goodbye to Fort Redstone, and after almost 2 weeks, I returned home in one piece once again. Which marks the end of the first phase, with a kill count of over 20,000. But we're not done yet. Now it's time to move on to phase 2 and clear out the most remote areas of the forest. But first I had to unload the spoils from my trip, which took the entire evening. And no, this time it didn't take me a bazillion years just to prepare for the second phase. I actually loaded up everything rather swiftly, and after casually fueling up my helicopter at the gas station, I was ready to rain some hell from above. Oh, I accidentally got out. And finally, after 17 in-game days and around 15 hours of playtime, I performed my last flyover above the woods on day 149.
I think I've actually cleared the entire forest. Wow, this was so tedious and annoying and so dangerous.
With that, I could consider the scariest place on the entire map cleared. With the mission now accomplished, I returned home with the helicopter for the final time. With this, I completed all the goals I set out to do. I found all the weapons I wanted and cleared another good portion of the map. The majority of the south was now liberated, with the exception of March Ridge, a town I'll have to tackle some other time. Like and subscribe, until next time. Hey, I'm live right now here on YouTube, come swing by and say hi. And go watch part 1 if you haven't yet, it's worth it, trust me.